How far can Africa go at the 2022 World Cup? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is a question that we will at least be attempting to answer in today's video. First of all, right everyone, it is Finn here with more regular African football news for the 2022 World Cup. Yes, I know I'm not wearing any of my African football jerseys. Believe it or not, I do have to get them cleaned every now and again. And second of all, I just got this German jersey. I absolutely love it. But of course, we're not here to talk about my fashion sense when it comes to football. We're here to talk about Africa. Of course, if you guys haven't been keeping up to date with this channel, I have live streamed every single African game up to this point for all 5 nations. So now I've got a tiny bit of an idea of how all 5 African nations can play. Once again, it's been very, very interesting. I don't necessarily mean that specifically in a good or a bad way, but a mix of both. I definitely think that we've learned quite a lot from all 5 African nations so far. Obviously, Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, Tunisia, and Morocco. Once again, all have been quite, I'll say this, I've been quite proud of Africa so far. Yes, only 0 wins for African nations so far, but I feel like in all 5 games we've seen so far, we've seen a serious fight pull up. Obviously, looking at the first game being Senegal versus Netherlands, although Senegal ended up losing that one 2-0, I think they had an absolutely brilliant performance. Up until the 80th, 85th minute, they were really in it until the end of the game. I do feel like Senegal, once again, we hate to say it, they missed Sadio Mane. They missed that lethal goal scorer up front. It really doesn't help the case that in terms of their attacking opportunities, I just didn't find that they got the ball to Ismaili Sarr enough. I feel like he is their most lethal attacker at that tournament, and he just didn't see the ball whatsoever. Koulibaly definitely had to put in the work. The likes of Edouard Mendy, as expected, had to pull up some brilliant saves. But at the end of the day, versus one of the most top European nations in world football at the moment, Senegal just weren't able to hold on. Obviously, at the time of recording this, Senegal are busy playing Qatar. I think it's like the 30th minute at the moment. It is still 0, so hopefully Senegal can get a result there. But saying that, I think not getting a result versus a team like Qatar, hopefully they get a win there. It all goes down to the wire versus Ecuador. Heading into this tournament, many people had both Netherlands and Senegal to be the top outright favourites in this group, but we've really been shocked by how good Ecuador is, the South American team. Obviously looking absolutely brilliant, and versus Senegal, I'm quite worried at the moment. I'm worried that Senegal don't make it through this group, which once again, major problem, because heading into this tournament, I backed them as the African team with the best chance in terms of having the easiest group compared to other African nations in terms of the quality of their squad. Once again, the injury of Sadio Mane definitely doesn't help. Once again, Senegal, you're so close to making it through. Obviously, looking at the likes of Tunisia, getting a draw versus Denmark, not a bad result whatsoever. I think Ludini and Skirdy in the midfield, I think that holding midfield partnership really held Tunisia together quite well. But once again, on the attacking front, I can't say that I was that impressed with them. I do think defensively, they did have some very good moments to lock out the creative players of Denmark. But I'll admit this as an African football fan. Denmark did not have their best display out there, and Tunisia to an extent were lucky because of that. Look, they did fight very hard to get the draw. They can be super proud of that draw result. But once again, whether they'll be able to make it versus the other opposition in their group, as we know, it is not an easy group. You've got Denmark, you've got France, you've got Australia. Next game for Tunisia will be versus Australia. Once again, absolutely gigantic game for them. As we saw, the Socceroos were able to score one past France, and they almost looked like they could have caused the shock there. Once again, everyone who's qualified for the World Cup, they've done it for a reason. There's no team out there at the World Cup that isn't guaranteed anything. Ghana put up a fight versus Portugal, as we saw Saudi Arabia versus Argentina.
Oh shit, here we go again.
There is not one team in the World Cup that can't put up a fight. So looking at Tunisia versus Australia, they do have to put their best team forward. Once again, I was a tiny bit surprised that Khazri didn't start in that striker position. We actually, I don't think, saw him at all during that game. Maybe rightfully so. I don't know whether it was the right or wrong decision to make. I guess at the end of the day versus a very top nation like Denmark, a draw's not a bad result for Tunisia. We've really seen them rise over the last year or so. As I said, once their best players were fit, they were brilliant at the African Cup of Nations. And to be honest, they weren't bad in the current cup, obviously winning the trophy as a whole. Tunisia, once again, going to be tough versus teams like a very informed team like France. Once again, not convinced. Obviously, looking at Morocco versus Croatia, once again, very solid to get a result versus, once again, a very top nation, the second clean sheet. Once again, the games I've spoken about so far, no goals scored yet. The only goals scored out of all African teams this tournament was Ghana versus Portugal. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a second. But looking at Morocco, once again, I think it's just proven to me, and I've said this for quite a while now, that Hamdallah needs to start in place of Nesri. Once again, Nesri proved 1 or 2 years ago in La Liga that he could be a goal scorer. But once again, this time around, just didn't prove a point to me. Once again, Saiss and Aguard showed that they can be a very deadly partnership in that defense. Ziyech, the magician, as he was known at for Ajax, once again, totally hidden by a magician. If that meant he wore the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter, then yeah, he's a magician.
Ooh, you're hard.
But other than that, didn't see much of him. Hopefully Mazraoui is okay. He did pick up a tiny bit of a knock. But other than that, Morocco, very solid performance versus a very top Croatian team. But on the attacking front, they do need to improve. Obviously, next up, we've got Cameroon, obviously lost to Cameroonian-born Mbolo from Switzerland.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
Once again, I feel like the game was so just not right. The result just didn't reflect the game well enough. I thought Cameroon were a better team compared to Switzerland. I do think Shaqiri, once again, caused a lot of problems in the attacking areas. But at the end of the day, I think Cameroon had a very top performance. I do think a huge problem came to when Choupo-Moting was subbed off for aboubakar. I mean, heading into this tournament, I thought aboubakar should be the main striker. Absolutely brilliant, but throughout that game, Choupo-Moting was absolutely brilliant. So was Toko Ekambi. So when you need to get the result, you just can't take two of your best attackers off. I don't think Cameroon were bad whatsoever, but once again kind of switched off and allowed Mbolo to score. That obviously takes us to our final African game of round one of the competition, as we have Ghana, the Black Stars versus Portugal, which, what a game that was. I mean, there was a stage where they were drawing 1-1 with about 15 minutes left. We all thought that maybe Ghana, the lowest ranked nation at the World Cup, maybe they would be able to steal points versus Portugal. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it just wasn't meant to be. Of course, there were speculations about maybe that not being a penalty. I mean, everyone I've spoken to says it's not a penalty, but you know what? When Cristiano Ronaldo wants a penalty, it's given as a penalty. But at the end of the day, Ghana can count themselves very, very proud of themselves. Inaki Williams, once again, I wasn't impressed by him. For a player who's brand new to this international team, a player that many people expected to make the difference here, we still can't forget he's never been a 20-goal season kind of striker, even at club level. So once again, whether the expectation to score lots of goals for Ghana is there, I'm not too sure about that. I do think Semenyo, obviously the Bristol striker, I think he probably is the better option heading into the next game. We do need someone who is a more proven goal scorer in the next game. Once again, it will be against South Korea, so going with a striker like Semenyo, I don't think it's a bad option. But other than that, I think Ghana can be super, super proud of themselves. Andre Ayew proved his worth once again. Thomas Partey in the midfield once again showed his dominance. Salisu and a bunch of other defenders. Once again, this Ghanaian national team proved us proud and probably was the best performing African nation at that tournament. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for how every African nation team has done so far this World Cup. As I said, in terms of expectations going forward, I am worried we didn't quite see the results we wanted. 0 wins from African nations. They really do have to step up a level, but with the changes that I have recommended in this video, hopefully they will do so. Once again, hopefully we can see at least one African win in round 2 of the competition. As I said, I'm recording this between at the same time as Qatar versus Senegal. I mean, let me get an update at the moment. 33 minutes, still 0-0. Hopefully a result can happen there.
Are you not entertained?
But guys, don't forget, if you do want to support this channel, please do subscribe down below. Would really, really appreciate it. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Don't forget to like. And I mean, if you want to donate, there's a donate button down below as well if you want to help the channel out. But that's enough asking and begging from me. Guys, until next time, this has been Finn, FYNN.